What's going on, guys? In this video I'm going to talk about Iris Energy. They did just report earnings and we saw a pretty serious sell-off here. I personally do think it's a bit of an overreaction, and of course it doesn't help that stocks like Iris Energy are a bit overbought after the recent run-up. So in my opinion, people are just rushing out of this and looking for a better entry point, taking profits because of how much we ran. And while Iris Energy stock didn't post a profit just yet, we do have a theme surfacing, and Wall Street sees it. Crypto is making money again. We have stocks like CleanSpark, the first miner to post a profitable quarter this cycle. And now we have Coinbase, another company that posted a profitable quarter. I think this is a big deal, and we will see more crypto related companies, whether it's Bitcoin miners or crypto exchanges, etc. We're going to see more and more of them posting profitable quarters. But in this video, we're basically going to talk about Iris Energy and the recent earnings, as well as some other news for Iris. And we're going to look at both Bitcoin and Iris Energy on the chart. So if you guys get something useful out of this, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and let's get going. And like I said earlier, guys, Coinbase posted a profit this quarter, and this is their first profit in 2 years. I think this contributes to the signs that crypto winter has long been over, and we are going to continue to see an epic bull run. These companies are already starting to post profits. Many of these companies, CleanSparks, Coinbases, they didn't see a profitable quarter until the very end of the last cycle. And we're already seeing profitable quarters in the beginning or in the early phases of this cycle. And I think that's one thing we're going to see a lot compared to last cycle is more of these companies, miners, crypto exchanges posting huge profits. And that will only draw in even more hype to Bitcoin. Speaking of Bitcoin, keep an eye on Bitcoin and this sideways channel we're in. I do think a breakout in either direction will choose the next direction, at least for the short term. We either break down under this 51 area and come down to test 50,000, see if this resistance can flip as a support, or we're going to break to the upside out of this resistance and head towards the 53s. One thing to realize with Bitcoin is on the longer term time frames, we are becoming quite overbought. And when we've seen an overbought RSI on the daily like this, we have seen some profit taking, we have seen some retracement. Wouldn't be surprising to see a little bit. Same with the weekly here, we're becoming a bit overextended. So this run might not yet be over, but just be aware on the daily, on the weekly, we are becoming quite overbought. We might be due for a little more cooling down before we go on our next leg up, before we start heading towards those all-time highs. Now I do want to talk about Iris Energy and their earnings report. And honestly, in my opinion, I think the market is overreacting a bit. It's not really as bad as people are making it out to be. Oh, and also Iris Energy is now Iren. I think their logic here is just making the company the same as the ticker. Might draw in more people or might make it easier for people to get into Iris Energy stock, or now Iren, but maybe they decided to change their name for a different reason. Now we have some words from Daniel Roberts, the co-founder, and he said our Bitcoin mining hash rate is on track to reach 10 exahash over the coming months and 20 exahash by the end of the year. Our AI cloud service business continues to outperform expectations and recently tripled in size with another significant purchase order for NVIDIA H100 GPUs, and we're going to talk about that in just a second here. We also continue to remain excited about our 1,400 megawatt data center development site in West Texas, which should provide substantial growth potential for years to come. Now they did see revenue growth to $42 million compared to $34.4 million in the prior quarter, and they note that it's mainly driven by an increase in average Bitcoin price. We did see lower Bitcoin production quarter over quarter. This is due to increased global hash rate. This is due to higher difficulty levels. But they mined 1,144 Bitcoin compared to 1,223 in the prior quarter. Their electricity costs are basically flat from the last quarter, right around 16.6 million compared to 16.4 million. They're keeping that right in line. And throughout both of those quarters, their hash rate has pretty much sat at 5.6 exahash. But we should be seeing that grow very soon here. Their site and other costs of nearly $12 million came right in line compared to their 11.4 million in the previous quarter. Their net loss after income tax losing 5.2 million compared to a 5.3 million loss. These guys really are not that far from profitability. Their EBITDA came in at 14 million compared to 6.8 million in the prior quarter, and their cash and cash equivalents of 90.3 million with no debt. And we'll go over where they're currently at with their cash. It has definitely grown from this update. Also, after earnings, we're talking about as of February here, their operating capacity increased to 6.2 exahash. And in January, they secured their exahash growth towards 20 exahash, with 1 exahash of T21 Bitmain miners purchased and another 9 exahash available with these purchase options. Kind of similar to CleanSpark, they have options to buy miners in the future at a set price, whereas a lot of companies are going to be forced to buy these miners and fight for the prices. There is going to be a supply shock for the miners, Demand is going to rise dramatically, price will rise dramatically, and the supply will diminish. The miners that don't have purchase options like Iris Energy and CleanSpark, well, they're going to be forced to buy much more expensive equipment compared. And we do have an update on their AI cloud services. They did have a cloud service contract signed with an AI company, Poolside AI SAS. They also tripled their cloud business to 816 NVIDIA H100 GPUs, with an additional purchase of 568 expected to be installed in Q2 of 2024. They also announced their 1400 megawatt data center development in West Texas, 4.7 million initial connection deposit that was paid, and an expected in-service date in late 2026. Quite a long time from now, but it is coming. And good increase in cash and cash equivalents compared to this quarterly update. As of February now, they're sitting at 146 million in cash and cash equivalents. And yes, they did rebrand their name from Iris Energy to Iren, same as the ticker. In my opinion, the market is overreacting to Iris Energy, and I do see it as a good time to add, knowing that the market may continue pushing this down a little further though. And just look at this drop Iris Energy saw. Went from almost $9 all the way down, very briefly, to $5.25. Right where the 200 MA lies. And while the market could definitely continue pulling this down, we could come back down towards the 200 MA again. I do think now is a good time to add into Iris, but I do also think we can head back towards $6 and try to see how it holds as a support. We do have what you could maybe argue is a head and shoulders, kind of a head here, shoulder, shoulder. Maybe we head down to the bottom of this pattern. But looking at the chart on the daily, I do think there's a likelihood we head down and fill this gap, bringing us all the way down to $5. That may be a bit optimistic. The market does like to fill its gaps, however. And if we do get down there, that would be a great opportunity to add to some Iris. And while it seems worse than it really is, we're only 30% from our top back in late December, when we went all the way nearly to $10. And Iris Energy is still up nearly double from where it was early February. So hopefully that puts things in a bit of a better perspective. Yes, we had some pretty rough days recently. Reported earnings, we saw a huge sell-off after hours, saw a sell-off pre-market, we're seeing some sell-off here, but they still are up pretty massively. It wouldn't be too surprising to see a little more sell-off, a little more profit taking, but I do think the 5 to 6s area would be a juicy place to load up. If we do fill this gap, I do think we're going to bounce at this 5 area. It was a previous strong support, also a previous resistance area, and that would bring us in the 40% range down from our recent peak. But I do like Iris Energy. I do think it's a great time to add some, keeping in mind, however, that we may pull back a little more. We may head down to fill our gap, head down towards 5 potentially. But overall, their earnings is going to improve. We will see profitable quarters for Iris Energy. They only had a $5 million loss. That's really not that much of a loss. But let me know what you guys got out of the earnings, and let me know if you listened to the call. I still need to listen to it. But do comment down below if you got something useful out of the call, something that wasn't mentioned on the earnings press release. Let me know what you're buying out there in the market. Which miners are you picking up today? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and have a good weekend.